So I just want to take a few minutes here, not too long, to go over a little bit of the background and bigger picture before Luise and Robin go into the demo. So what we're demoing today is really part of a bigger initiative to offer some prescriptive guidance around user interface principles for PowerApps. So we have white papers and learn documentation out there related to improving the performance of PowerApps, which is another big topic, but we don't really have the same for UI. And from the UI side, there's all kinds of material already out there that talks about UI and how it relates to application development, but nothing really specific to how you can apply these concepts, which is exactly what the PowerApps Design Toolkit that you're seeing here is designed to try to solve. So the overall initiative or goal with this initiative is to provide a place where you can go to get information about user interface principles and how you can apply these principles to build accessible and consistent PowerApps. So one of the key elements of UI design, as we mentioned, is consistency. So as you can see, we have a screen here where we can learn a little bit more about consistency and what it means and some of the implications of that. One of the ways that we really give this consistency inside of our Power Apps is by leveraging components. So the process to build components that match a particular theme or design standard can be a bit cumbersome. So we thought that one of the good ways to kind of have a lot of impact here with this design toolkit initiative would be to offer a series of component library kits which follow different UI styles. So our goal with this is not only to provide some additional documentation and guidance around user interface design, but also to give you a place where you can see the art of the possible for UI design of Power Apps and take it a step further by offering you those component libraries that you can plug and play into your Power Apps to improve your design. So what we decided to start with this is a design toolkit related to the material design standards. And that's exactly what Luise and Robin will be demoing for you today. So I'll turn it over to them to show a quick demo of how this works.
Okay, so this is material design for PowerApps, a small Christmas gift for those who are celebrating from Robin, aka Rudolph and May. Very shortly about me. So hi for everyone who does not know me. I'm Luise. I'm an independent Power Platform consultant based in Germany. I'm an MVP in M365 development and business application. I love stickers and coffee and the number 42. And you can find me on Twitter at Luise Freese. And with me today is Robin. Robin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am a low-code enabler or advocate at EnBW, and I speak German, English, and as you will see in a second, my third language is SVG, and you'll find me on Twitter under power_R2.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So both Robin and I were super passionate about good design, and we found material design, which we will just like show off in a few minutes. But the very ugly truth of Power Apps is that. So when I look at Power Apps that my customers build before I consult them, they look like that. And that is just like, it feels a little bit unelegant, not to say ugly. So maybe you agree here with me that that is not what we would like to see in Power Apps, but unfortunately that is the ugly truth. So options for makers are, first, the bad option is just like, yeah, we would just like live with that look and feel and with those default styles of the controls. And whenever we need to have something that is more complex, then we would just like try to copy paste that from a previous app, or maybe just like a colleague can share something with us and we feel like this is really bad and it does not really work very well. Second option that a maker has is the ugly one. We could just like literally change every single property of every single control, which is just like super painful. And then we would just like have some reference control, so something that we styled in a nice way, maybe on a hidden screen, and then copy paste the hell out of that so that we can just like have a nicer look and feel in our apps. But maybe you guessed it, that is painful as well, because I promise you, you forget one property and then you just like copy paste your bugs around your apps, or it does not really look nice in the first place as well. And as a result, we get just like really an outdated and inconsistent design. And some of these out-of-the-box controls really lack a functionality. and pleasantful appearance, but also functionality. So there is just like stuff that does not really work out of the box. And this also means that makers who are supposed to come into place just like to solve their business needs in a faster, more cost-efficient way will then need to reinvent the wheel over and over and over again, which is not the purpose of bringing in low code in the first place. So that does not make any sense. And then we see just like a lot of differences across apps, just like maybe Robin works on something in his style and I work on something in my style, and maybe skill level vary as well. And then we end up with just like apps where there is no consistent level of design or intuitivity to use them. So we needed to have just like a better option. And then there is, of course, a good option for a maker, and that would be using a component library and a template app so that I really get a consistent look and feel in my apps. So let's imagine, and I hope you still have that usual PowerApp picture in mind. What if our apps look a little bit more like that? What if we really had just like this super sleek looking text input boxes? What if we had just like beautifully designed screens? And what if we provided guidance on how to achieve that, not by letting makers now rebuild all of that, but just consume those components? That would be really nice, right? So we came across material design. Material design is the design system supported and maintained by Google. You may know of that. So if you have an Android phone or if you use any Google applications, the design system that is built on, that is called material design. And it is super widely adopted, so there is no design system in the world that has just like more apps running on that, not even Fluent UI by Microsoft. It is really, really great documented, and this is what I really love, because that means for me as a developer, it's just like super easy to then adopt this because it is documented. And what I love about it, it cares about accessibility first. And this is something that is really near and dear to my heart. So we wanted to make sure that everything that we build is accessible to everyone. Okay, so speaking about a component library. So maybe you're not familiar with that. So what is a component library? It is a centralized repository in an environment for components, which means it's a special kind of application that holds all my components, or the components that I want to have in that component library, because of course you can have several component libraries, and then these apps maintain a dependency to that component library that they use. And that means that makers get alerted when there is a new version or an update on a component available. And this means that we really have a nice purpose, because makers can now easily discover new components, and they always use the latest version of the component. And we have that famous single source of truth, which we always like to have, and that makes it also easier to maintain, because we have just like this one place where the components sit and live, where they will be developed, and we do not just like spread that across several apps. And then makers will just like consume those components in their applications and always use the latest version of them. So Robin and I have a little gift for you, and the gift is 16 components in a component library, a template app, proper documentation, around 5,000 SVGs. I think Robin will tell a little bit more why we need 5,000 SVGs. And the beautiful thing about that is the setup time for you as a maker is less than 5 minutes. So you import the component library, you start from the template app. So you need to change 1 to 10 values depending on how much you want to customize that, but at least change 1 color value so that you can match your color scheme, and then you're just like really ready to go. And if you're now just like excited and want to see that in action, this is your turn, Robin.
Yes, I will take over in a second. Let's share my screen. And this is just where Luise left off. We downloaded our component library solution, which also includes a demo app, and then we downloaded the template app, which is an MS app file, opened that app. If you don't know how to do that, it's also in the documentation. Just take a quick look. And then we imported the component library components into this app. We have to do this manually afterwards to link it to your component library so you can also update it later. And then we are here with a not completely empty app, but this will be the template app you should start every project from. And now we're gonna start building really quickly. Get an app bar top. These are our library components. This is the top app bar you probably saw in Luise's slides already. And then we want to build a responsive app. So this is not from our library, but no, I want to add here containers. Please use containers, and especially the horizontal and vertical ones if you want to build responsive apps. So let's get in a horizontal container right here, and don't use these pixel values, but use relative values like parent.width and parent.height minus self.y to fill out the rest of the screen. That was wrong. So now we filled out the rest of the screen. Now let's get a menu going right here, and the menu is called a navigation drawer, but it's the side menu you know from probably many different apps. And then we want to compare the standard controls to the component library controls. So let's bring in more containers. Container number 1 and container number 2. So the plan is on the left side, go the standard components, on the right side, our library components. So let's bring in a button, a text input, and a slider, and just compare them. Let's center it a little bit. You see how easy this stuff is when using containers. And on the right side, again, we want a button, then our library text input, and our slider. And again, we will center those to take a quick look. And the first thing you probably noticed, we have no Microsoft blue right here, no Microsoft light blue, but we have this beautiful purple. And how does that work? Let's take a few seconds to appreciate what Sensho Harker has done for us all. He started 2 or 3 years ago introducing the template system, showed us how to set up templates and get these colors from the beginning and have variables instead of absolute values, and have one dedicated place like the onStart property where we can change these values. And that's what I did just right here. Everything that is in there we learned from Sensho's templates, but we wanted to make it a little bit easier. Like Luise said, we only wanted to provide, I think it's 12 values now you can change. Let's look at the onStart property. And these are the values we have to alter. And I want the dark blue my company uses as a primary color. I want a different font, but I don't have the actual font right here. But let's take one that is really close, little bigger font size, and we have more of those bubble buttons with a larger border radius. So let's change that, run our onStart again, and as you can see, everything changed right here. This template works with the standard PowerApps controls, and it works with our component library controls. So it's really easy to mix and match. You don't have to only take our controls because we couldn't provide any controls, and some controls are so special, like a combo box. It's not really easy to rebuild all the functionality in a component library. So mix and match, take the best out of the standard controls and mix it with our component library controls to achieve great results. We have this one place like the onStart property to set everything up, and have really easy. It's really easy to change it later on if you took the wrong color or want to apply theming for another company or something. And let's take a closer look at the first component library component that we provided. And this is the button, like I call them, one button to rule them all. Because our philosophy around all these controls are you have some variety and some different features you can use, but it should be really easy to use them and really fast to set everything up. So for example, if I want to make this button into an outline button, the Fluent UI controls tried to do this, but didn't really succeed. Here you can do it just one click and you get an outline button. An outline button with box shadow doesn't look too good, so switch that off. And if we want to include another SVG icon, topic I really care about, there is this SVG icon property where you can basically put all the SVG code in you want. All the icons you can find on the internet will probably match in there, and the colors are already handled for you. Like you see, there's no fill property, there's no color specified in here. The heart used to be white when it was a filled button. Now it's blue. When I change back to purple as primary color, it's purple. But Luise already told us we have also 5,000 material design icons included right here, and it's in a data source, was imported as an Excel table, so we can look up against this data source. It's called material design icons, and if we want to include a star right now, then we type in star and select the SVG path. And then we have a star in here. If we want a cooler star, then we choose the Death Star, and this may be my favorite icon. The Death Star variant looks really cool. And again, as I said, going to a filled button from an outline button, the SVG icon also changes the color. Because you obviously don't know what all these things are called, we change to the icons tab, and this is also in the template, not as a screen to use, but as a reference screen to just go through this stuff. So if we look for a star, then you will find the Death Star right here and some variants. So you can see how it looks in primary or secondary color. And there's also another reference screen. Sancho does this in his templates as well, some demo color themes. And let's take a green color right now with rectangles, no rounded edges. Let's look again at our first page, and you saw everything changed just with one click. Just redefine these 12 properties on runtime. You can also use this. We've also a dark theme in here you can check out. So you could change on runtime to a dark theme or to a high contrast theme. So many possibilities to set this up. That's it from the template app. So let's click really quickly through this design demo app to wrap things up. Again, just giving you, so you should use this app, open it in editor mode and see how we set everything up. So you can just copy this or get some ideas from here, probably to get creative and use the side menu like this probably. And just the different buttons, the input controls that are provided, like these two variants of the text input or the slider, a new checkbox that is customizable with SVG icons, a nicer toggle, and a generic input frame where this is just the normal control. And if we select Power BI, then we have an error property right here. So a central place where you can store an error property, also pretty nice. Different ways to interact with your user, just like a classic dialogue, a snack bar, what it's called in material design, a banner you probably already know, or a side sheet you also know from other design frameworks. Have some mobile dedicated components like this time picker, which uses some SVG. Was really fun to build this thing and really challenging. And another menu variant, and again the icons theme, icons screen, and the themes screen. So that's it from the demo. I hope you like it. And I really, really hope you use this to quickly build really, really beautiful and performant apps. So giving it back to David, I think. Thanks for listening to us.
Absolutely, Robin, April, Luise, thank you. This was, wait for it, amazing. Just really fantastic stuff, everybody. I know the community is just so excited for everything, and to see where you can go with this, really fantastic job. I think it just comes with its own little sound effect. Needs to have its own little magic wand sound effect. So really fantastic job. Excellent work. And everyone, this is an opportunity for you to get involved too. So really, really excited there for all the opportunities that are extended to all of us. So let's work together.